Do you not use your guitar's tone knob because it just kind of sucks? Maybe you use it and it really doesn't even do anything noticeable. On the other hand, maybe you use it and it makes your guitar really muddy. The problem might be that you just need a different capacitor value, and this is actually one of the easiest things to fix on your guitar, and it'll only cost you under $10. You don't really need to know what a capacitor is in a circuit. All you need to know is that a capacitor acts as a frequency filter. Just like on an equalizer where we have bass, mid, and treble, those frequencies can be selected for and then turned up and down so it can affect the total sound overall. What a capacitor essentially does is it takes that frequency, it filters the frequency out from the sound that it's designed to filter and then sends it to ground instead of out to your amp. So that's how it works. The frequency you select is determined by the capacitor's value. Capacitors come in three different measurements, usually 0.047, 0.022, and 0.015. I'm going to play some samples for you so you can hear the difference between that. I have a switch on my guitar that I rigged up so all those three capacitors can be selected for. You can hear the difference between 0.022 and 0.047 pretty easily, but 0.015 and 0.022, that's kind of a hard change to hear. If you ever look at the pots on your guitar, you take it apart and you look on the back, you're going to see these things that are kind of soldered to the back of one of the dials. Those are your capacitors, and it's usually going to be attached to one of the poles in the tone knob. The other pole on the tone knob is going to be attached to ground because that's where it sends those frequencies you don't want to hear anymore. In order to change the capacitor value, all you have to do is solder off the capacitor that's on there and then take a capacitor of your choosing and put one in its place and solder it in the exact same way. It's really that easy. If you want to do something like I did, where I have an ability to change between the three different capacitors, it's a little more tricky, but this is a wiring diagram of how I did it. I used a on switch. That's a type 2. You can use type 1, but I use type 2. And this wiring diagram is how I did it, just with a jumper wire, the capacitors going to those 3 points, and then of course the out for the switch is going to either the tone pot where the signal gets sent to it, or it's going to another place where the signal is processed by the rest of the guitar before it goes out to the amp. Capacitors can be made different ways, and there are differences in sound between those different ways that they're made. Maybe they're oil and paper capacitors like I use, or they may be like the orange drop capacitors or ceramic capacitors, whatever they may be. Truth is, there's not a huge amount of difference between all those, even though I think that the paper and oil ones sound a little bit better maybe. The difference between those capacitor values is going to be way more dramatic than the difference in materials.